All right, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100s we're talking about here on the day. Now, we had some pretty good action here. If we jump into the Nasdaq, we look where we're at. Now, again, we make a new 52-week high. Actually, new all-time. Is a new all-time high? We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But you're breaking out. New high on the day, and you're holding our massive level, right? 17,075 was your previous high right here, and it continued to hold. Now, you had that dip, getting a bounce, kind of holding around 17.1 right now. Okay, now what do we know about going into this week? We don't expect volume. We don't really expect anything like that. The only volume that we did have was kind of to the sell side, right? And ultimately, we've been buying back and holding through all of this, right? So to start the week, ultimately, it's been good. You can't complain. Tuesday we come out here, push up, mount this level, and that's kind of like resistance turned support now. And so that's good behavior, things that we want to see. You go to something like SPY, look what's happening here. Again, you're making new highs, you're just holding up here. Again, you have that kind of flag there. Grab the flag, just drag it over, and you're going to get a pretty good visual, right? Another flag being formed here, pushing into all-time highs. All-time highs right here on SPY, basically 480, inching your way up there, $3, on the way there. Now, we go in and look at a little bit further in, you can see, our volume here on the day as well, 59 million. It has been kind of decreasing. Had a little bit of spike yesterday, but overall decreasing. Okay. Now, there's stocks that I'm liking, and again, I think there's some big plays that people need to be looking at. I'm going to talk about those here in a second, and a few of them that I got into today. So again, I'm starting to establish my position, but again, it's important to realize and know before I go any further that short-dated contracts, especially last week of the year, first week of the year, might get destroyed. So I can only say the same thing so many times. Those are things that you need to keep in the back of your mind and definitely pay attention to, okay? Now, before I go into the stocks I'm liking, I have to ask you to do two things. Consider liking and subscribing. It helps with the channel tons. I appreciate all the love and support. Again, the Discord link is down below. There should not be any spots available, but spots will open up on Sunday, just to let you know, on the 31st. It will be a select amount of spots. If they get taken, first come, first serve, the end. Can't say nothing else, okay? So understand that. Be on the lookout. Okay, let's jump right in. So a few things I want to talk about. The DXY, these are things that we've been watching. Now, something that I was watching into today was the break that we had, and we got that retest and kind of shot back down. But, again, we did push back up through this. So it's like one more just like little false breakdown and you're pushing back up. So that's kind of what I'm watching right here. But one thing that we've been watching closely along with DXY has been the yields. And so to end this week, I think this is the most important chart. Across the board, if I looked at everything as a whole, this is the most important chart. I can only say this so many times. It's the US30, US 10-year. But US30 in particular underneath 4%. Again, I've shown this chart a handful of times so far. But when we look at this chart, again, when did we get really bullish last year? When was the bottom set? When did buyers start getting back in? It's when the 10 or the 30-year got below 4% and held, right? We had the rejection in December and to the beginning of January and so on, right? Something that we need to be paying close attention to. And this ended up holding, under 4%, which kept us running until the end of summer, basically, right? So those are things you need to be paying close attention to. Again, we want to see a weekly close below this level. The daily so far looks good, but again, we want to see a confirmed hold and hopefully get a rejection, making, lower lows established here. So those are things you're looking at, right? And that's really setting the tone. Now, again, oil has started to drop once again. Again, people will talk about oil. Again, you're below to underestimate. You're very weak there. Food for thought. Okay, I'm going to go over stocks that I'm liking, right? But I want to be very clear. Anything that I want to buy or anything that I am buying, I do not want to have 30 days till expiration. I want more. Now, what I will say, something to keep in the back of your mind, you have earnings coming up basically January 20th through the first 2 weeks of February. That's earnings season, right? You're gonna have a lot of earnings, right? The big boys start around the 23rd, I believe. So like the last week of January kicking in there. We'll have Tesla and Netflix kicking around that time. So keep your head on a swivel. So I like at least very minimum February 16th contracts. Very minimum. Nothing else. Okay, so before that, I think you're gambling, you're taking big risk. Because again, what do we know? We don't expect significant movement. We don't expect buyers to get aggressive until the beginning of the year. That's my opinion. Why? Vacation, what's happening in the holiday season? It's clearly vacation. Less money is in the market. Okay, understand that. It's my opinion. Do with that as you will. Okay. So again, if you comment down below, hey, I have a January contract, I don't care. I'm probably not going to respond. I don't care. You're gambling, you're risking it, like makes no sense. Okay. So going a step further, right? Stocks that I'm liking, I'm going to just name them off rip for you. Number 1, Nvidia. Okay, I love it. I'm going to go over these charts. Okay, number 1, Nvidia. Number 2, Apple over 194.5. I love it. Number 3, Microsoft. I absolutely love it. Okay. And then if I came down to cloud, it'd be close between Datadog and Snow. Those are also very strong looking names as well. Okay. Now I'm going to go a little bit into depth on these and some of the names that I didn't mention, but those are my favorite plays right now. Let's get to work. Now the first thing, Tesla. Tesla I didn't mention on the list today. So what we got was interesting, right? We had this battle all week to try to get over 260, and you get it. Okay. But what happens here is annoying. You break up, you push down, you break up. You had a great push off of 260, great move, $5, $6 to the upside, and then you just get rejected all day long and slip down. Now, FUD, whatever it may be, I'm not going to be the judge of that. But this action here is terrible, especially since you're back below 260. Under 260, I'm not interested. It's not, I'm not going to trade the box here. I still think Tesla will move up. Unless it breaks back below like 252.5. You get below 252.5 and you're pretty gross. But I'm not interested in trading this range here for myself. You start breaking back up, I'll talk about it. But until then, not interested. Nvidia. I love what Nvidia is doing. But again, Nvidia is one of those names, you got to have time. You have to have time on the contracts, okay? Even if it's 60 days, you got to have something. I like Nvidia. I am bullish on Nvidia. I really like Nvidia. I can only say it so many times. The giant ascending triangle on the weekly and the daily, clear cut flat top at like 500. If you ever mount 500, I think it's over. I think you rip. I think it's easy money. But until then, you're at this area of risk. So even if I enter a position in Nvidia, I understand the risk. Okay? Make sure that's very, very, very clear. It's just like trading AVGO and LRCX. You have to be willing to lose that $300. You go into it with the mentality of that $300 is already gone, whatever my stop loss is. But the reward potential far outweighs that risk, in my opinion, when I look at this, right? So you could always wait till you mount 500 to get that guaranteed kind of move. Snow, I like Snow. You're finally mounting 200. The question is can you hold? I like it. Looks good. Datadog was one that was kind of tied with. Datadog, you almost got the touch of 119. You never really got it. Kind of slower mover here, but again, I like these names. When I'm looking at Datadog and Snow, I'm looking at like the weekly time frame, getting these breaks, getting these major holds. You have a lot of upside room. Same thing like on Snow. You're getting that break of that level. You get a break above 206, 205. I think you're running to the races, 230, 240 potentially. So things that I'd be looking at there. And the contracts, in my opinion, are relatively cheap based on how much I do expect you to move if you start to get that said move. Microsoft, you're still sitting in this range here. You go to the daily, you look here, clearly in this range, making higher lows. You like what you're getting, but you need to see a hold and close above 376.5-ish to get that, guaranteed move back up. If you start breaking hold above 376.5, I think you move back in all-time highs, and I think you start pushing, honestly, towards 400 with a real move, okay? Apple, again, I mentioned yesterday's video. Congratulations for Discord. Like, you held this. I mentioned this one yesterday in Discord as well. You had that double bottom down here. Got above the neckline. Once you got above VWAP, I was long. And again, target number 1, 193. Target number 2, 194.5. You open up right at the level. Okay, getting a pullback. I still like it. I love the candle that formed here at the end of the day. I think buyers are showing up here. Okay, you had, the news with the Apple Watch. You had that kind of pullback as well. I'm a fan. I'm a buyer again above 194.5. Keep it on your radar. Keep it on your watch list. Very good name. Definitely watching it. Okay, I want to go into something though here with Walmart. I want to give you guys a for instance. Okay, so a lot of people are tagging me with Walmart. A lot of people are showing a lot more interest. This is a great example of why waiting is sometimes the best opportunity. Okay, so really ugly. You can see the shoulder, the head, the shoulder. Okay, you got an inverse head and shoulders forming out here. Now, with inverse head and shoulders, it's really cool because the neckline is where you're supposed to buy on the breakout. It's one of the only things and only times that I don't always wait for the retest. Okay, so let's say this is my resistance, right? You want the break retest. Typically, that's what you want. But in inverse head and shoulders, you really can just buy once you break the neckline. It's really when you can buy. So when I look at Walmart, you have like $1.20 more till you break that line. Everyone keeps saying, I'm buying. You need to buy. You need to buy. Guys, there's no reason in getting in too soon here. First of all, the IV on Walmart is destroyed, so you're already getting a deal on it. If you get the break and hold, your minimum upside mood is like to 163. I think you have a higher push to 167. The risk reward 100% is there. There's no reason to get over aggressive here, right? There's none at all. So that's why I'm waiting, being patient here on Walmart. I love it. I think it has a lot of room. But again, I'm being patient. There's no reason to just jump the gun here just yet, right? What's another dollar to wait for that confirmation? See where I'm coming from? So again, those are my favorite plays. That's what I'm watching here in the market, okay? Now, a little bit of what's going into the end of this week and going into the weekend. I'll probably have a better video going over expectations into next week coming out tomorrow. But overall, I don't expect crazy volume tomorrow. I don't think volume's going to show up out of nowhere. All I'm looking for, I would love to see NQ hold above 17.1. That would be cool. Really, you just want to see it hold above 17.07, your previous highs. Number two, do you want to see what's happening with the 30-year yield? Can you hold below 4%? Would be very bullish. Okay. The dollar, I just don't want to see you spike super high. Closing below that key level would be big, but again, that's all I'm looking for here. So I don't have crazy goals, crazy aspirations for the week. I don't think anything crazy is going to happen. I'm being patient. Why? Volume's low. I don't think Friday is going to be the exception of where volume kicks back in. We know everything and kind of had an expectation over the week. I think a lot of that has played out. We said also too, be patient. Wait for the breakout. Wait for the confirmation. I think we could get that with the 30-year-old holding below 4%. Okay? So again, it was just like that time in November where we were kind of chopping around. We weren't getting the greatest movement just yet. But once it started, it didn't stop, right? And you made a lot of money on those breakouts. So I say the same thing with where we're at right now. Okay, the chop could kill you, especially while you're trading this range with very low volume. It's a day trader's nightmare in my opinion. Just because you make money sometimes through it doesn't mean it was a good trade. Doesn't mean it was the right move, okay? You're going to be right sometimes even when you're trading in the wrong circumstances, okay? Luck is a part of the game as well. Okay, and luck sometimes does side with us and is good and can really help us make a good payday, right? But we shouldn't rely on luck. We should rely on our thesis, on our base, on our trading strategy, and that should be our base. And then if luck stacks it on top of that, the more the merrier. Great profits. You can't, be sad during that either. So again, that's my viewpoint. That's how I'm trading. If you have questions, comment down below. More videos coming out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, traders.